Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. This is PN4023, and this is the task for week 2. Okay, so the part of the lab activities for this week is we're going to create a model of this cut cylinder here, and we're going to make a layered solution to the given problem on SolidWorks. Okay, so this is the layered solution that you're going to make on SolidWorks, but I'll just go through a few bits and pieces that you can use just to show you how we can make drawings from part files on SolidWorks. Okay, so if we start on our part here, what we can do is we'll start a sketch. So we'll use the we're going to use the top plane and select normal 2. Then we're going to select the circle tool, use the origin as the center, and pull out any random circle there. And then we'll just give it a dimension. So the dimension on the base of our cylinder is diameter 80. Okay, so now that we have that, we can just extrude that surface. Okay, so the height of our cylinder is 105 millimeters. Okay, so now that we have our cylinder, we just need to take a cut off there so we have a cut surface then, and we can use that as our surface to see our auxiliary view from. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just select the front plane and select normal 2, because this is the plane we'll use to draw our cut on. Okay, so what I normally do is I'd select the line tool, start off on this corner here, and now we know that the cut is being taken from this point here. We can just pull that down anywhere along there and just line it up with the edge, and then just join that back up. Okay, so before I move on, the next part I just draw your attention to is it says between our true length of the cut surface and this line here that if we bring a straight line out, then that's 40 degrees. Okay, so just to make our life a little bit easier, what I will do is I'll bring a center line out from this point here, and we can smart dimension that now. So we'll click the center line and we'll click this line. Now it's 37.2 at the moment, but we can change that to 40 degrees. So now this triangle is fully defined. What we can do is we can use an extruded cut feature to cut through all this here. So if I rotate that, you can see it's only going to one side at the moment. So what we can do is we can select the mid plane tool, and we can just bring that back a bit. We don't need it to be as big. And the reason this happened is because our front plane is in the middle of our object. Okay, so we okay that, and now we have our cut surface over here just like that. So what we can do now is we can just add a small bit of color just to make so we can distinguish from the cylinder sides and the cut surface. Okay, so what we'll do is just add a color just there, and then on this face here just change the color of the face. In the labs you'll probably be adding more complex appearances and stuff like that, but just for the purpose of the video I just said we'll keep it simple. Excellent. Okay, so we can save that and then we can move on. So now when you start your drawing you'll have all your borders and all that kind of stuff set up and your title block. So that's the first lab activity, so you'll be doing that just before you start this part. So the first thing we can do is select model view. Okay, so what this does is at the moment it's just a blank square. So when we click that, it'll bring in a model view. What we can do is, because we can't see the cut surface, we can get rid of that for a minute. So sometimes in SolidWorks when you import different parts, it'll import the view that you last left. Okay, so what I will do is I will leave it at this view for the time being. Save it. Same when I open up my drawn sheet, what I can do is I can select model view. Bring that out here. Okay, so now that it's just a 2D surface, if I bring it out here, it'll show me an isometric of it. So what we can do is we can just leave that here. And we can get rid of this one. So what we'll do is we'll add the color to it. So now then we can see our surface is there. We can pull it down to the corner. And we'll just change the scale of it just a small bit just to make it a bit bigger. So we'll change the scale to 1.5. And we can just leave it in the bottom right corner there. Okay, so next thing we want to do now is we want to make an orthographic projection of this cut cylinder. So what we can do is there's a tool here called standard tree view. So what we can do is we can click that and we can select the cut cylinder. Okay, so as you'll see at the moment, it's not coming out like it did on our solution right here. Okay, so as you can see, our cut surface is there and our plan is here, and then our end elevation is there as well. We actually don't really need the end elevation for this question though. So what we can do is we could simply pull this one down and bring it up instead. Now what we could do instead is we can get rid of him, but just say if you had a question where you did need the end view, you could select projected view and see you can bring them out just like that. Okay, so if you really did want to use the end view in your question, all you can do is bring that across and then you have your 3 views there. So now if you wanted to select an auxiliary view, what you can do is there's actually a tool for it here, auxiliary view. So you click auxiliary view, then it says it looks for a reference edge. Okay, so the view, the way we want to look down it is just like this. So we want to look at this edge here. So if I click that, it'll show us all the different auxiliary views. Okay, so it'll pop up just like that. Okay, but what we can do is we can pull that down just there. Okay, so then we'll just change the views on these just so we can see. Okay, so now that you pulled out your auxiliary view there, you can see that there's an arrow A coming in and looking at that edge there. So that's all that signifies, is that we're looking down on view A, and that's what our result is. Okay, so then what you can do then, just to annotate it a small bit, is we can put in a few construction lines, okay, just so you can see where it's coming from. So if you wanted to put in that, so these are just little things we can use just to make our auxiliary views a bit clearer. Okay, so say as an example, if we bring that up to here, we can see that if we label this point here, brought it up and brought it down, then we know that that point is here. Okay, and it's also highly important that we put in our XY lines and things like that. And labeling as well is so important. So now that we have our auxiliary view, what I did was I just added a small bit of color just so we can see what's distinguishing before the lines, because the lines are quite light here, as you can see. Okay, so they're really, really pale grey there. Okay, so what I did was just added a color. So on your drawing view, you can just click that, scroll down here, and you can just click. Okay, so at the moment it's just clear lines, and then if we say shaded with edges, it'll bring up the colors just like that. Okay, thanks very much, guys.